And we are back. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Channel 135 podcast. This is a show we talk about our favorite things in life, movies, TV series, and pop culture. My name is Cams, and I'm here of the usos. We got straight out around Neill. We got Eric. What's up, brother?
What's up, bro?
It's good to have you back, man. And we got also straight out of our rugby league, our NRL podcast, the 135 Footy Show. We got Bobby. What's up, man?
As a brothers, I seen that you fellas had started a review for this TV series, Game of Thrones universe, so let's get it on.
Channel 135 is brought to you by the mighty WesWes Network. You can check out our website, www.weswesnet.com. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, the WesWes Movies and TV YouTube channel, home of the Channel 135 podcast and the Late Returns Film Review podcast. Also on socials, Instagram and Facebook, the Channel 135 group Facebook page. Go check that out too. Like and subscribe to this channel also. Right, man, it's good to have you brothers here to talk about the new Game of Thrones spin-off, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're up to episode 3, so we'll be breaking that down pretty soon. But firstly, man, I'm trying to discuss with you guys, man, I saw on social media, man, there was this little post about the greatest Kiwi actors of all time. And they had a few names dropped in there. They had Russell Crowe, Sam Neill. They had Tim in there. They had Rena Owen. They didn't have Cliff Curtis in there, I noticed. But they had those names there. But, man, I just thought now we'll come and start this podcast by, man, just reflecting on these famous actors that have represented us here in New Zealand. And they had a, pretty good career as far as starring in blockbuster movies and just always on the big screen, man. So, man, I think when it comes down to the best two or the best three, I gotta put up there Russell Crowe, Sam Neill, and Cliff Curtis, man.
Yeah, I think they forgot Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
Yeah, and Anthony Starr.
Nah. I wouldn't put them there. Not yet, anyway. They're coming up though.
Yeah. Carl Urban, bro, he's been out for ages. I don't know. I think he's good enough.
Probably those guys, because they're well known for like a lot of mainstream movies. But if I'm chucking names in there, I'd chuck in like Anna Paquin and Keisha Castle Hughes just because they've been recognised by the Academy. And Anna Paquin won an award for the piano.
Piano, yeah.
So, I'd put those two ladies in there just because they've been nominated. I don't even think Sam Neill or Cliff Curtis or Tim or any of those other guys you've named have even been recognised at that level. So I'd put the ladies in there too in the top 5 just because of the recognition that the Academy's already sort of given them in their careers.
Well, if you go by that, if you go by acclaim, award-winning, yeah, you got to put Anna Paquin there, but you got to put Russell Crowe in there too. If you look at both their careers, what kind of movies they've done, and you got to say Russell Crowe would have had the most acclaimed movies on his in a CV. But then when you think of Russell Crowe, you think of him as he's born in New Zealand. He spent his primary school days here, but he's really brought up in Australia, well. And Australia seemed to claim that guy, but it's only because he goes back to his roots in interviews, like he's from New Zealand originally. But in terms of like, if you think of Russell Crowe, how he represents New Zealand, you would say like he's probably the least of those actors on that list to represent New Zealand. No? Just the fact that he's done most of his work in Australia, he's grown up in Australia most of his life.
He's probably the acting version of Crowded House. Like we know that band's got New Zealand roots, but then they're mostly Australian in that band, even though the leader of that band is a Kiwi. But yeah, that's kind of like Russell Crowe as well. He's New Zealand born, but man, the man lives in Australia, has lived there since he was like a teenager.
He even owned the Rabbitohs,
Yeah.
But then you got Sam Neill. So he's a guy that's had a long history, a long career in mainstream movies. I remember first seeing him when he started Omen Part 3, when he was the older, he was going for the president,
Older Damien.
Older Damien. I remember that like ages ago, but he started in a lot of things there, like Jurassic Park's one of his most famous ones, man. But he just never got that award, I don't think he's got an Academy Award, Yeah.
He's got the nominations and stuff, but nothing Oscar level, So it's kind of sad.
And he's still going. He's still starring in films that are coming out. So his career is pretty up there as well. Now, if you compare Sam Neill to a guy like Cliff Curtis, who's been in a lot of mainstream stuff as well, and still going too. He's done a lot of iconic roles as well, and he's the kind of actor that's managed to be acting in every single nationality in America, like from Arabs to to Mexicans to all sorts of diverse characters, man. So he's got the acting chops. Guy like Cliff Curtis. Has he won anything like Academy Award? I don't think so,
Nah.
He's got a lot of work though. He's had a lot of jobs. He's always popping up in movies, even now, TV series as well. He's managed to do both TV series and movies as well. So I think in terms of career wise, you got two Kiwi actors that they're doing work, Sam Neill and Cliff Curtis, who not like Russell Crowe, who is a split between New Zealand and Australia. You got 100% New Zealand with Cliff Curtis and Sam Neill, man.
I think he's got every other award, and all he needs is an Oscar and an Emmy. This probably his 2 final awards that he needs to get.
Is that Sam Neill?
Cliff Curtis.
So I'll put to you guys, man. Who will be your number one then? Out of all these guys we're talking about, you still got Anna Paquin there, Bob?
Oh, I'd still put the ladies in there, just because of recognition. But I reckon body of work, tenure is Sam Neill. Sam Neill's number one New Zealand actor. He's been there, done that, almost done that. I've seen his James Bond, where he went to audition for Bond. Yeah, and it ended up going to, I think it was Timothy Dalton.
All right,
went ahead of him.
then.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Because I think they were trying to get Pierce Brosnan then, but he was tied up with Remington Steele TV series, and so they had to recast, and it was between Dalton and Sam Neill, and Sam Neill missed out.
Habir?
Yeah.
Shit. I think I'm just gonna go Russell Crowe. I do love the Gladiator. There was a mean performance. Yeah.
His first movie that I seen Russell Crowe come out in was crazy. You guys remember Rumper Stomper?
Yeah, the
skinhead
one.
Nuts.
The skinhead one.
Wow. Rumper Stomper. I don't know how I forgot that. I used to see that scene all the time. Rumper Stomper.
Rumper Stomper, yeah.
It's like shit.
Skinny jeans and Doc Martens.
Yeah. I used to call those guys, they look like that, Rumper Stompers. Yeah, Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I think for me it's gonna be Sam Neill, because just because I think out of all these people, his career, like how many stuff he's been on, he's been doing this forever, since I was a kid. Still going too, and I think he beats Russell Crowe for me because of his identity to New Zealand. Australia can't claim that guy,
No.
They can't claim that guy, so yeah, I think put Sam Neill on top. We're gonna talk about what we're here for. We're here to talk about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, a new series on HBO. We're gonna talk about episode 3 that dropped on Monday. And before we get into the breakdown, this is a spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, episode 3, then I suggest you stop this podcast right now and watch the episode and come back and listen to us break it down. We're about to do the Channel 135 episode recap.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, episode 3, The Squire. directed by Sarah Adina Smith, written by Hiram Martinez and Annie Julia Wynham and Ira Parker. While Dunk sleeps, Egg trains the warhorse Thunder. He is confronted by the one-eyed Sir Robin Risling, who questions whether the horse is stolen. Egg later informs Dunk that only highborn knights compete in the tournament's first day. While Dunk buys food, Tanzel tells him the shield will be ready that evening. Egg requests a squire for Dunk permanently, but they are interrupted by Plummer. He asks Dunk to take part in a rigged joust against Lord Ashford's son, Sir Andrew, to recoup money spent on hosting the costly tournament, and gives Dunk a day to decide. During the jousting match, Arian acts dishonorably and mortally wounds Sir Humphrey's horse, enraging the crowd. A fortune teller claims that Egg will become king and die horribly. Dunk and Raymond discuss Arian's jousting match, and Raymond expresses his hatred for the Targaryens. Egg watches one of Tanzel's performances that portrays a dragon being killed. Feeling his family insulted, Arian breaks Tanzel's finger, and infuriated Dunk attacks and loosens one of the prince's teeth. Guards quickly restrain Dunk as Arian prepares to knock out his teeth as revenge, but Egg orders the guards to stop and reveals that he and Arian are brothers. And that was your Channel 135 episode recap. All right, I'll start with you, Bob, man. Man, how are you finding this series as a whole, man?
I'm finding it interesting because it's got so many points of difference from the main Game of Thrones storyline, and also that what was this, the other one? What's the one that came after Game of Thrones with
House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon. Like, those are all about brutal political conflicts, flippin' bloody warfare, all of that sort of stuff that you see. And I think you guys touched on it last week too, where this is ground level Game of Thrones universe. this is the what you usually see in like the background of Game of Thrones. They're walking through like Flea Bottom, or they're walking through like the crappy parts of Westeros, whereas this series is taking you right there, those random ass trees on the side of the road where people are just blur when you go past, when you're the Hound with Arya Stark riding through these crappy towns, or these going past these poor ass people on the side of the road. The story is about these poor ass people on the side of the road sleeping under trees and all that sort of stuff. And so, the point of difference, and that it's way removed from all of that stuff, that R18 kind of stuff that you've seen in Game of Thrones and House of Dragons. I'm enjoying this lighter tone, but because you've seen Game of Thrones and you've seen House of Dragons, it's like, when will this light tone all of a sudden just get not light? It just like that. The old knight will step out of a tent and it's like, oh, silly. I wasn't expecting you to come out and show the world. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying it. It's been really good, and it's good to see some of these characters that were mentioned in the Game of Thrones series get sort of fleshed out in these stories. So you heard of Egg, you heard of Duncan the Tall when Joffrey's talking with his uncles about previous tourneys and lists, and and he talks about how, Duncan the Tall is mentioned quite a lot in all of these tournaments, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is that guy that Joffrey was talking about. So yeah, and Egg, I'd like to see where that storyline goes, and I didn't realize they were just going to reveal it at the end of this last episode 3. I thought that was just going to go on for a bit, and I thought they were going to have him in hiding somewhere, but it was like a big ass reveal, so I was like, oh, okay. But no, it's been good.
Yeah, I'm feeling the different take on the Game of Thrones universe. Sort of what makes me think of the main Star Wars movies, and then now that Disney's taken over, you've got all these small TV series that tackle different timelines in the Star Wars universe and different stories, and it's sort of been up and down in terms of like how the fans are reacting to the Star Wars universe stuff, and they've got the Mandalorian and Grogu, and it's sort of like a buddy cop series. We got sort of similar thing what we see now with Egg and Dunk.
Yeah, Duncan the Tall.
Yeah, so I'm trying to compare both universes, the Star Wars universe, and why it's become up and down. That's why it's become polarizing in terms of like how the fans are reacting to it, right? Like some stuff are not doing well, and some are. But with the Game of Thrones universe, it's been, I think all 3 series have been good. I think the only flaw it has is it's taking long to make each season for House of the Dragon. Like it's almost 2 years in between. Like,
yeah, I think it's a good idea to have this in between House of Dragons seasons, because like you were saying, it's almost taking 2 years, and now it's coming out probably next year, the next season. So having this in the middle, I think, kind of helps a little. I don't know if they're gonna continue with other made up episodes of Game of Thrones to fill in the gaps, but this one's doing pretty good, and I'm enjoying it. Like I like the change, and I like how it's not like each episode's not too long. Like I think I was saying this earlier. So yeah, I'm enjoying it as well. It's a lot of fun, but as Bob was saying, like I can see it turn a hard left. Somewhere down the line, it might be like how the fortune teller was saying. So it sounds like there's going to be some out of it shit happening soon. So yeah, we kind of saw that a little bit at the end of this episode. Saw Duncan like completely lose it just because Aaron snapped Townsley's finger. So yeah, and they were about to smash his teeth. So it was getting there. But the man Air came in and saved the day. So yeah, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen if it does turn violent, like what we're used to in the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think with the series, especially the first 2 episodes, just like we talked about before, there's no sort of politics, there's no big dramas like the Game of Thrones series and the House of Dragon. But I think it all comes ahead now, because now that Egg has revealed himself, I think this is the turn, I think that this episode is going to be the turn of, the storyline, how we feel about it.
Well, you're probably right. I mean, it's super early. How many episodes are there in this season?
I think it's only 6.
Yeah, so it's quite short, and we've touched on this before we came on about how the episodes are short, and Eric sort of touched on it too about the filling in before the next House of Dragon season takes off, and it's so low budget at the moment. Like there's no need for any big CGI dragon scenes or any gory ass battle scenes. Like it's super low, and the scene is just this tournament, and that's it. They've gone from one tent to the other. Dunk and Egg go off into the bushes to have a sleep because but they haven't had to expand outside of the universe that we already know with Game of Thrones. They haven't they've mentioned all the places you've heard of: King's Landing, you heard of Flea Bottom, you've heard of, the Crabbers, you've heard of all of these other places, but they're just in this one sort of place that's in Westeros that we know about, all the expanded places and all the big cities because we've seen them in Game of Thrones, but they're telling a story that's really localized in this one tournament. And if you've read the books or if you've looked up some stuff about this particular show, there's quite a bit of history with Duncan the Tall and Egg, and we've seen his brother in Maester Aemon in Game of Thrones series. So how Aemon left and went and took the Black because he didn't want to be used as a pawn to compete with his brother who ends up being the king. So that kind of stuff, if you sort of go into this knowing a little bit, it's cool, or knowing nothing at all, it's still cool because the series kind of still explains it for you. I remember when the original Game of Thrones series came out, and there were heaps of people like me that had read all the books and were like, the books are better. But then by like season 5 or whatever they had ever taken the book. So now it was like, oh shit, I don't have any knowledge now of what's coming. And then it, you kind of saw the tone of Game of Thrones really change, and then it was like, man, these showrunners are taking quite a few liberties from plot points that George R.R. Martin had given them. So even though Egg reveals himself at the end of that last episode, there's probably way more story to still flesh out. I mean, now everyone's kind of giddy, like, oh shit, that guy is not just a little baldy. He's one of the sons in line to the throne. Like, he's 4th in line or whatever he is, because he's the baby. But yeah, it's cool that we're getting a different show that explores all of these houses that we've seen, the ancestors of all these characters that we know of from the different houses, the Baratheons, the Lannisters, all of the Targaryens being the main one in this particular series. So it's the reason why they can do stuff like this, similar to like what Disney can do with Star Wars, is because Star Wars is such a massive beast. Like, they can just throw any sort of crap at the fans, stuff sticks, and it goes off, like The Mandalorian, like Andor, and then others are really Gaia, like that movie with the kids. I mean, that TV series with the kids, or the Acolyte that didn't get renewed, all of that sort of stuff. It doesn't matter, because the franchises are so big. They might invest a bit of money initially, but they know that if any of it sticks, and if it's remotely anywhere near close to what the original product was, like Star Wars, or in this case Game of Thrones, man, they will take as much money out of this whole machine as possible. And Game of Thrones was such a massive series that House of Dragons is super successful because of Game of Thrones. And now this series has got all of these owls watching it because of what Game of Thrones was, and because of what House of Dragons is. So the potential for this series to be awesome is pretty high.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think you answered my question and my thoughts when you alluded to the Skeleton Crew, the Star Wars Skeleton Crew, about those kids. Like, see, they had a lot of promise, and that was a story that's outside what we know in the Star Wars universe, and they concentrated on a certain part of the universe away from what we knew, and focused on these kids on a different planet and the whole new story. So it had promise there. It started off well, but I think for me, Skeleton Crew fizzled out, and I think the story sort of went off the tracks, and and maybe it was too long. Maybe it was a 10 episode or 8 episode. Maybe that was too long. But I feel like that Knights of the Seven Kingdom does the same thing. We're like we talked about. We're looking at a certain part of the Game of Thrones universe, but it does it better. Because we're still engaged, and story is pretty good. And maybe, I don't know if it's because it's only half an hour each. It's based on the 100-page book that he wrote. So yeah, I thought it's a good series and a good way of telling a story that keeps us occupied before we get to season 3 of House of Dragon, man. But it all ties in pretty nicely with the stories in that. And I think the Night of Seven Kingdom being a small story, it's and the way it's written, like you could start off with the series not even like reading the books or watching the Game of Thrones or House of Dragon. You can actually start with the series, man. So, and another thing about the series is the comedy. There's a lot of funny moments that are sprinkled throughout these 3 episodes, man. And like, we touched on it before, but that's a thing I'm enjoying about the series, and another point of difference is making me laugh in certain scenes, man. Even the way, like, in the beginning where the one-eyed Sir Robin guy, he shows up, and there's a flashback of him when he gets his eye stabbed and he's riding off his eye, hanging off his I mean, they show that, but in a way where it's funny. It's brutal, but it's funny as well. And a lot of these flashback scenes happen at a time when they're telling a story, and it's just funny, Like it's the comedic timing of these flashbacks, they make you laugh, man. It's like it's dark, but it's the way it's portrayed. That's pretty cool, man. So,
Yeah, those flashbacks come out without warning. They're just like they just pop in there, but then you get the reference to it, and you're like, oh, okay. It makes you giggle.
It's a different style.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
different.
Like it's a different storytelling style. Well, yeah, they don't need to dedicate like episodes and episodes
Yeah.
to a character. They can just say that, you know, the hedge knight, that what's the original dude's name that was his master? Aaron or whatever his name is.
Dimitri or something.
Yeah. Like you only get glimpses of what he was, and then you only need those glimpses, and now you have sort of like a whole picture of what this guy was like in life. You know, he was loyal to whoever it was that hired him, and he fought his ass off. You know, because they mentioned how he broke 4 lances or whatever it was when he was at a tournament before. But you also knew that he used to whore around, and he was a drunk, and you know, so. You know, you kind of knew all you needed to know from all of these little flashbacks. So similar with that character, that one sort of flashback where he gets his eye, and that sort of, oh shit, this guy's pretty badass. He's a bit older now, so you know he's a bit more mature, and it's like, oh shit, okay. But now you've already got a glimpse of what that character's like without unnecessary backstory telling or wasting any more of the 30 minutes episode on him. It was just like a 10-second flashback, and wow, now you kind of know that this guy's a badass knight, and hopefully Dunk doesn't get to go up against him early.
Well, that was because of Egg's reply, right? Because he goes, oh, what happened to your ear? And then Egg goes, oh, what happened to your eye? And then they go to the flashback, and it's like, oh, okay. I was like, what a crackle. Simple but effective.
Yeah, out effective.
So this episode, man, is all about the big reveal at the end, right? And if you call it a twist, but it's in the middle of the series, so yeah, it's a big twist. It's a big reveal. I didn't know until last week because I accidentally saw the spoiler when I went to read the recap for last episode. It was right there when I opened the page. I was like, shit. So, but man. Before I saw that, I had no idea. But it was funny because you picked up a few things there in last 2 episodes. Every time the Targaryens show up, his Egg like being all he's being all weird,
Yeah,
taking off and stuff.
and he knows more than he should.
Yeah, he's pretty smart. He knows all the ins and outs and stuff. But how did this reveal affect you, Bob? Did you know this was going to happen? Did you have a inkling?
Oh, I kind of already knew, to be honest, because when he said his name was Egg, and I was like, oh, is he Aegon? And like Aegon, and you know, I didn't watch Game of Thrones when it first sort of came out during the years. I binge watched the shit out of that during COVID, so. I watched those characters grow up in 9 seasons or whatever it was across the span of like 3 weeks. Like just watching them go from Arya and Jon Snow to just the character development was crazy. And because, you know, those seasons were like, they had to wait like a whole year until the next one came out and the next one came out. Yeah. Man, the productions went from, they were all right, and I can see how people get hooked. And then the more money got pumped into that, and fucking hell, production quality of those TV series to that scene, which is like a 10-minute long battle scene, uncut camera view that just goes around, follows that whole battle in the castle. So that was crazy. And so, you know, I still had a recent memory, I guess, you know, because it was years ago now, but, you know, I can still remember Mr. Aemon talking to Jon Snow about it at, you know, Castle Black when he's talking about, oh yeah, he keeps referring to Egg, you know, Egg is his little brother, and you know he's dying, and he calls out Egg's name. So I'm like, I'm sure that's the same Egg. I'll just Google it. Oh, that's the same Egg. Okay. So, you know, I guess if you know Game of Thrones universe, or if you've sort of kept in touch with the books or anything, then the reveal's not so much a big wow moment. It's more like, oh shit, what are they going to do now with the story? Like, because watching the first couple of episodes, I kind of knew that Egg was who he was. You know, and you know why he shaved his hair, and it was like, oh, okay, let's see where they go with this. But so his brother was a dick in that episode.
One thing I like about the series, and I haven't read any of the books, and I enjoy the Game of Thrones except for the last episode and the final season. I enjoy House of Dragon. I know that the House of Dragon and A Night of Seven Kingdoms. It's a different timeline, and it's a whole new generation, right? So everyone that's in the House of Dragon, and this one are all dead. The Game of Thrones, everyone in the Game of Thrones that they're not born yet. So it's interesting to me to try and map out what the landscape is like, just with the clues and what's going on, the conversations that they had. Who's the king of the Iron Throne at the moment? Who are these Targaryens? Who are they? How are they related in the family tree? It's a big family and it's a big family tree, so you gotta actually look it up online if you want to see where it goes. But man, just the detail on the families and the timeline of everybody, the generations is awesome, man. Like the author, man, he wrote all this, and to me, it's like this whole universe. It's fascinating, man. It's fascinating and interesting. So, obviously, watched all 3 episodes, but just the doing the detective work about, like, listening to the conversations and seeing the characters and just putting in my head the picture of who's on the Iron Throne, is it peacetime? I'm hearing these different houses that we've heard all through the Game of Thrones. Like we hear Dawn. Apparently they're part of Westeros now. So apparently we're at a time where there's peace, right? There's no like wars and stuff like that. So
because haven't the Targaryens, they've lost the dragons, right? So they've lost that
they lost their power.
Their power. So their influence.
Bomb.
Yeah, they lost their influence on the community, and it looks like they the best way they can do it is befriend everybody else or suffer the consequences. So without their dragons, they're basically just normal people.
They're vulnerable, eh?
Yeah, they're very vulnerable. So I guess that's why. Yeah, they're in the time of peace, because you do hear it in I forgot if it was episode 1 or episode 2, but you hear that conversation, like the Targaryens are weak, and everybody doesn't respect them as much as they used to. So like even in this series, when you see what's his name again? Is it Aaron? No, the Targaryen when they were jousting, and he stabs the horse.
Aaron.
And they have that, Aaron, and the community starts like, oh man, what, basically saying he's a stink cunt, he should have fought fair, and they were gonna retaliate and like charge him.
Yeah.
So like that wouldn't happen back in the day, bro. No one would dare challenge a Targaryen like that. They'll get burnt alive straight away. But people are like, no, fuck them. They got no dragons now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit of that going around too. So it's like everybody's like, hating on the Targaryens right now. I think because they see them at a weak point. So I don't know. It sounds like a rebellion or some shit.
Well, if we know the history of Targaryens, like we see it in House of the Dragon, they don't really like each other. Like if they're siblings or cousins,
they don't like anyone.
They want to up someone. They want to up over them. Like even Egg, he hates his brother.
Bro, he said, "Kill him."
Yeah, I was like, kill him.
Oh, silly.
Say, man, if you didn't know he was Targaryen, just look at that scene. Kill him to his own brother, man. Like, it makes sense now. But, hey, man, like, even that conversation, Dunk and who's the Apple dude? The Apple? Raymond. Yeah. They're having that conversation, and Raymond had that spiel, like, fuck those Targaryens, like, I hate them. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm getting carried away. Like, so there's a general hate. Hey, the for the
Targaryens.
public game, man.
Yeah, that's
you're
right.
You're right, Eric. Because Arian, he doesn't make things any better when he does a cheap shot to the other knight and stabs the horse, man. Like it's one of those unwritten rules, you don't do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, he's not justing properly, Everyone's like, oh, come on, man. Take it one up, bro.
Yeah, Dunk was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's like, I don't know if he was aiming for his horse. I was like, goddamn right he was aiming for his horse. It was like, oh, okay.
But that's Egg, Egg. He's smart. Like to me, like if you put Egg and Dunk together as one person, they're like the perfect knight. Dunk's got the physique. He's got the skills. He can fight. He's pretty dumb, Like he's gullible. It's everything that Egg isn't. Egg has the knowledge. He's got like smarts in that, but Egg doesn't have the. He's not physical. He's still a little kid. So they make a good team,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see Sir Duncan Toll in any of those politic conversations back in the past Game of Thrones. He'll be lost on the first few minutes, bro.
Nah. I'm also enjoying their relationship. Like the more episodes we see them two, Egg and Dunk, they talk to each other and tease each other. There's funny conversations like the one about I think they're near the end when they're having a beer, or he's having a beer, and the other dude's drunk and they're singing that song about that girl Alice. she's like a cripple, and she sticks her hand in asses and that.
Yeah, that's
and they have that conversation, and they like Egg's trying to figure out what the meaning of their song is. Like, why would you honor a girl named Alice because she, puts her fingers in asses? Like.
She must have done something right. They honored her with a song.
Yeah, but those makes you think, makes you think, true that is that her real name? I don't think so. Where'd they get Alice from? Is that her real name? Like he's like man, that kid. He's funny, But it's cool to see that interaction between him and Duck when they have these sort of conversations. But so I like to see these two interact all the time. Like it's funny, man. It's funny. Just like at the beginning when Dunk he gets up, he's sort of angry or I don't know, but he's doing the knitting thing. He's knitting, and he's mean to Egg. Tells Egg to go and brush the horse, and Egg goes, "Oh well, what about breakfast? Just go brush the horse, blah blah blah." And then he feels sorry for him. And he goes, "Oh, you know what? Come, I'll show you how to make
Masima after."
Yeah. The beef salt, the beef salt.
I was like, salted beef. Is it Masima?
But then he growls him off, right? He gets mad at him, but then he backtracks and goes, "Oh," and he goes and helps him and shows him how to do the knitting thing. So he's got a heart. He's got a heart. Oh, donkey.
It's because he
tries to be badass, but he pulls back.
Yeah, nah, because he's been there before.
Yeah,
he was that kid.
It's from experience. He's like, I know what it's like being a squire and getting shat on from your master and getting ground, getting smacked around.
Bro, he was getting smacked already. The old man was smacking him like a soccer ball, bro. Like, holy shit, like a volleyball, I mean.
So, Dunk has to rig his joust, So, they're giving him they're telling him that he's gonna win. Hey, he's gonna win because the guy he's gonna fight, his father is the guy that organizes the whole tournament, but he spent more money than he should have to organize the tournament.
Yeah.
So to recoup some of that money, he's gonna make his son lose that joust with Dunk. So everyone's gonna bet on that night. Everyone's gonna bet against Dunk. So yeah. So that was the plan. And Dunk's like, man, I want to earn my win. I don't want to.
Yeah, he wants to do it the honorable way.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be do it the cheating. Yeah, cheating way.
But the guy goes, it is honor because you're gonna get paid because you got no money. You're gonna get your armor. You're gonna get your horse. You're gonna get paid, and you're gonna win. That's what you came here for, right? To win.
if
You go
Egg,
straight to the championship round.
if Egg heard that conversation, he would have told him straight away. Like, just take it.
So I thought that was an interesting predicament he's got. Like, if he's honorable knight, like, is he gonna go through with it or what? What is he gonna do?
But if he doesn't, I bet you Egg is gonna get pissed off.
Oh, do you think he's pissed off? Duncan's pissed off at Egg now for lying to him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he'll be a bit like, hey, all this time. I don't think he saw the signs.
Like, how's this gonna play out? Because Arian now can't kill Dunk.
Yeah,
But he can kill the girl. He can kill the girl, right?
Yeah.
I hope the relationship doesn't change too much. Like, you can see that it's probably going to change a little bit. But, you know, they were developing something that was really cool for the series. You know, even if you didn't know who Egg was, you know, it was this cool dynamic between those two, like you were saying. You know, this buddy cop sort of feel that you got to it. So I hope they don't stuff that up too much, or Egg doesn't feel like he needs to change too much to now be this Targaryen friggin' lord. You know, he's like the grandson of the king. So it's like, you know, now Duncan's like going through his brain, like, so this shit, I've slapped him around a bit. I've done all these things to this guy. And he can just, with one, kill him. You know, that's that whole sort of, you know, the dynamic that it is now. And I just hope it doesn't change it too much. But, you know, there's a lot of bad blood towards Targaryens at the moment. So now all the people that might have thought that Egg was all right, he's just this little kid who's cool square.
One of us.
And now they're all thinking like, hey, this guy's infiltrated our ranks. He would have normally just ridden past on a white horse, past the blurry background, but he was part of the background for a little bit, you know. And
a spy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but that was the reason why he shaved his head and why he left. Well, I think I read somewhere that he was dumped by the other brother.
Oh,
and, like, there's another brother. What's his name? That we've not been introduced to yet.
or something?
Yeah,
Darian,
I think is his name. Darian was with Egg, and then he just dumped Egg and left.
So is Arion the one at the wall?
No, it's Aemon.
Aemon. So there's another brother.
Yeah, Aemon is the third. So I think it's either Darian or Arian that are the oldest, and then Aemon is the third, and then Aegon is the youngest.
Oh, or is Aemon one of their sons?
Yeah, Aemon is one of the brothers. He's a brother to Arian and Egg and Darian. Yeah.
I'm trying to get my head around it because it's like 100 years before Game of Thrones, eh? So
and Mr. Aemon is about 100 years old.
So yeah. Shit, that's right.
They're Maker's kids, eh? All these ones.
Yeah. I'd like to follow their family tree, eh? They seem to be resemble some of I forgot the House of Dragon, the guy with the eye patch.
So Maker, he's the white hair.
Yeah.
He's the brother of the guy that's there, eh?
Baelor. He's the hand.
Baelor, yeah.
Baelor, he's the hand of the king. So their father is the king right now.
Maker's the king, yeah. He was the one that told Dunk to F off.
Oh, so he's the king.
He's the king. And his brother is his hand.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I wonder who his parents were.
Maker's parents.
Yeah, Maker's parents.
Let's see.
That's the family tree I would have
1, 2, 3, 4. So, Maker's grandfather. Oh, sorry. Father, grandfather, great-great-grandfather. Oh, so 3 greats is Daemon.
Wow.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, damn. That's Daemon on House of Dragon, eh?
Yeah. So Daemon's son, Viserys Targaryen II, is the great-grandfather to Maker.
Ah, okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
It's just amazing. He Martin fought out all these families. Eh?
So it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Bro, it's
That
nuts.
is linked stories, which is why you could do all of these bloody things, because this is just following the Targaryen family tree. You can fucking go and do another whole series based on Lannisters, or based on the Starks in the north, or Baratheon. Like, so the universe could expand in crazy ways following different family trees.
Remember when Dunk and Egg were walking, and there's that fortune teller teller lady comes up.
Yeah.
Sort of, she tells Dunk that he's gonna be rich like the Lannisters. And he goes,
that's right.
Okay, sweet. How about him? Like he doesn't. But man, she's right when she told Egg he was gonna be king, eh?
Yes.
So maybe she's right about Dunk being rich like the Lannisters.
The Lannisters.
You know? Yeah.
Oh. It's a lot of dosh. So if that's right, that means Egg will die in a blazing fire. So I don't know the proper story. With
Oh,
but
shit.
I get the feeling.
Maybe I shouldn't have Googled it.
I get the feeling that like even from episode 2 at the end, the songs and stuff, it kind of reminds me of a story of two people, you know, that become friends, and then next minute one of them dies, kind of thing. So I don't know, because I haven't heard the story yet, but I'm guessing that either Duncan or Egg will die, one of them, in the storyline.
See, I'm not sure if they're all foreshadowing, eh? Like the fortune teller lady telling their futures, or when Arian breaks Tanzel's finger, because they talked about Alice being the girl that puts her finger in asses. I don't know if that's connected.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, man, I don't know if it, but you know, at that part where Egg comes in, helps before Duncan almost got his teeth smashed in, and you get to see him, like, you know, like he's standing up straight now this time, and he's telling those soldiers, you know, in my name of my father, blah blah blah, take your hands off Duncan, you know, and they're like, hey, and then the brother acknowledges that he's the brother. He's like, oh, what did you do to your hair? And he's like, oh, I don't want to look like you. You can start seeing Egg, like, you know, he's starting to show that, like, he is a Targaryen.
the comebacks of the man. Eh? He knew those soldiers' names.
Yeah, hard on.
He said their names. And,
Yeah, get your hands
Get
off him. And they were like, hey.
And they gotta listen. They gotta listen, because this is one of the king's sons, so he's technically a prince.
Yeah.
Telling them to get your hands off him. Sure.
Yeah, so I think, you know, Duncan's going to be like, you know, all that time we've been eating under the tree, we could have been eating like kings. Yeah, bloody shit. So, yeah. I hope it doesn't change too much, eh? But we'll see in the next episode. Duncan might even probably, like, you know, get mad at him for a bit and then just like, nah, fuck off, kid. So, see what happens.
yeah, I got a feeling the relationship between Egg and Dunk will change a little bit through this experience at the end of this episode, and they'll come back together at the end, I think.
Yeah.
By the time we get to episode 6. So. Yeah.
It's one of those ones that even if you've read ahead and you know what's sort of going to happen, you're still kind of excited to see what's going to happen. If I'm going to compare it to Star Wars, it was like in Phantom Menace when they had that final fight scene, Qui-Gon dies, and then I'm thinking, well, I wonder how Darth Maul's going to die, because I saw Obi-Wan in Star Wars A New Hope. So I already know that Obi-Wan lives to another 3 movies from now. So I wonder how this guy's going to get killed.
Well, even on Mandalorian, like when it's Mandalorian and Grogu up until Luke Skywalker shows up and takes Grogu. So you think that's the end of that. But then, you know, next season, Grogu comes back to Mandalorian and they go on the adventures again. So might be something like that. Eh? But anyway, is there any more on that episode you guys want to touch on before we end it there?
Short and simple.
Short and
There
sweet,
was-
eh? That's the thing
yeah.
with these episodes, eh?
There wasn't
Which,
much there wasn't much talking in there either.
Hmm.
It was just a whole lot of this episode definitely kind of fleshed out Egg's character a bit. Like he had a whole few minutes to himself in the beginning, and then he practically saves the day.
Yeah, it was definitely an egg episode, and you can tell by the title. It's called The Squire.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the whole setting is this tournament. And so I think every episode from now on's got to have at least one jousting that were happening. And then, like, the rest of the story is just going to happen. And that's just got to happen on the side somewhere. And the jousting in this episode was cool because it sort of developed characteristics of his brother. And you kind of knew that he didn't like his brother. And now you can see why. And I was like, suddenly, this guy's... He's trying to go down that Ramsay Bolton path of despicable characters that you hate in Game of Thrones. So, yeah, I think he's trying to take that mantle in this one.
Yeah, hard up.
Nice, boys. That's us for another episode of Channel 135. We'll be back next week for episode 4 of A Night in the Seven Kingdoms. Episode 4 called 7. Due out next Monday. All right. Thanks, boys.
All
See you again next week.
Sweet.
I get it.
Sure.